Two questions. Number one, I saw the scenes in Jos. Is it that we don't even have forensic experts to cordon off a crime scene that will make people have access to a crime scene? How do you do an investigation? It looked tacky, it looked demeaning, and it looked as though our security architecture was a joke. That's the first question. The second question, the people that we are forgiving through this de-radicalization are seen to go back to crime. They form the bulk of some of the fighting forces. In fact, they go back to their villages, they have skirmishes, and they reintegrate themselves into this because the de-radicalization, I do not see an sort of like an economic throughput that will act as a measure from stopping them to go back into these vices. So why are we doing it if they just find their way back into the crime ecosystem? That's the second question, sir.
Okay, Rufai, I don't know if I can come in now. Thank you very much for your question. And first and foremost, let me thank you very much for creating this opportunity for us to have this conversation. I also commend your role in entertaining and educating and also setting the agenda for national discourse. I would want us to focus on Operation Safe Corridor because the issue of the Plateau incident has been extensively discussed yesterday during the media brief by the Director of Defense Media Operation, and also the Director of Defense Information also cleared the air on those aspects. So I would want us to focus on the Operation Safe Corridor aspect of the whole thing. Now to the question of reintegrated clients going to their community and fomenting trouble and joining groups that are causing trouble. I think the reality on the ground does not support that assertion, Rufai, because Operation Safe Corridor has a structured and well-developed system of screening clients and providing the psychosocial and other forms of support we provide for them. And at the end of their training at the DDR camp, we don't just insert them into the societies like that. The reintegration is even done by the various state governments. We only provide the environment conducive for them to be reintegrated into their communities. From there, the state governments, traditional rulers, and other key leaders, including the security agencies at the local level, continue the monitoring of the clients, ensuring that their behaviors are inconsistent with the training they have imbibed at Operation Safe Corridor. So I'm bold to say that no member of clients that has left Operation Safe Corridor has been found to foment trouble in their various communities, cutting across Edo State, Akwa Ibom in the south to Ebonyi in the southeast, down to the north and and other parts of the country, even including our neighboring countries like Niger, Cameroon, Mali, Burkina Faso, and others. So I think one of my reasons of being here is to put this record straight, Rufai.
Okay, General. Please, I'm happy you put it straight by saying you have community, state governments, religious leaders, traditional rulers checking them as regards their conduct. Do you have a monthly report by the traditional rulers, state governors, and all of that published of their conducts on a monthly basis, an appraisal on a monthly basis for them? Typed, documented reports on a monthly basis for all the people that went through DDR. And if it's there, can these case studies be shared?
Okay. Can I respond now, please?
Yes.
I think I would take this as a recommendation, Rufai, because that is the purpose of this engagement. Operation Safe Corridor is not a 100% foolproof, faultless entity. It's a work in progress. We are transparent, accountable, and open to suggestions like this. We always wait for reports of misbehavior by clients, which so far has not is more like zero. So I think moving forward, I will take this your recommendation as one of the input to our processes by ensuring that the communities render monthly or quarterly report on the conduct of the clients, because we just assume that all is well, and since there has not been any adverse reports from the communities, we've not stretched it this far.
Thank you so much for that. I certainly think that that tracking of progress will go a long way in creating accountability and transparency. But I want to commend you and the entire Defense Forces. I listened keenly to the X Spaces that took place yesterday. I listened to all 1.5 hours of it, of the briefing, clarifying various issues. Unfortunately, we couldn't ask questions. I'm glad you're here, so I can ask my question, which is that there was a point highlighted around the fact that not all terrorists are people who choose to go into indoctrination. In fact, the example was given that there are some people, let's say, who are abducted as they're conducting their daily business, and they're forced to choose between losing their lives or joining to fight with these evil forces. And the question kept being asked, well, what are we supposed to do with those who surrender? And to me, it felt like somewhat of a rhetorical question, because if you look at international best practice, surrendering is not a reason to grant immunity. So why is it that we can't prosecute those who surrender because they have committed crimes, and then follow on with rehabilitation and so forth after prosecution has occurred and people have served their time and the full wrath of the law has taken its course?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Exactly what you said is what is happening in Operation Safe Corridor. Operation Safe Corridor does not provide amnesty just because you surrender. Operation Safe Corridor comprises 17 ministries, departments, and agencies, including the Ministry of Justice. It is the Ministry of Justice that screens and categorizes those that surrender and those that are arrested along the line of low risks and high risk and medium risk, as the case may be. So it is those low risks that are handed over to Operation Safe Corridor, that Operation Safe Corridor admit and administer de-radicalization and psychosocial therapy to them. So the criminal justice system is live and running its course. Hundreds of